News is sponsored by Parker's.
Are you thirsty? All of Parker's fountain drinks are made from 100% filtered water. Parker's, fast, fresh, and friendly.
Live, local, now. This is the News at 6.
It was tragic. I mean, I never seen anything like it.
A night of violence in downtown Savannah.
I just heard about 7 to 10 shots ring out, and at that point I just laid down.
2 shootings and a deadly crash near City Market hours after Independence Day celebrations come to an end.
When I say this is the scariest thing of my life, this was literally the scariest thing of my life.
What will it take to stop the violence? Tonight, WTOC brings you team coverage starting right now with David Klugh.
And I am live right here in the heart of Ellis Square, the heart of the historic district. We're not 100 yards away from where that tragic and deadly car accident happened following that police pursuit last night. Not 100 yards the other direction from where the initial shooting took place just after midnight last night. What happened here just a few yards, again, from where I'm standing, is already having an impact on the historic district. Whether you're talking about the death of a beloved restaurant operator, the reality that this kind of random violence can happen even in the busiest parts of the historic district on a very busy night, or perhaps talking about the immediate response of hotel and visitors here to Savannah looking to end their trips early or calling in to cancel reservations they already have because of the violence that's taken place over the last 24 hours. Let's get up to date on exactly what took place. Georgiaree, Godfrey and I joined the chief and members of the city council today at a news conference. They had a lot to say about specifically what took place during that incident last night. Fill us in on exactly what happened.
That's absolutely right. Chief Lumpkin actually reviewed hours of surveillance video and talked to several witnesses to piece together all what happened. It started around 12:13 when a car actually approached the City Market area and started firing out of a window. Moments later, there was another shooting on Broughton Street. From there, officers actually spotted the vehicle involved in that first shooting just 100 yards from here and then pursued them, which ended in that crash that you mentioned over here on Bay and Barnard Street. But Chief Lumpkin actually showed us that surveillance video. Metro Police showed us, and they actually take a look here. You can see the first shooting play out. This was shortly after midnight. Now pay attention to the bench and the white SUV in front of it. There's a group of guys standing there. The SUV is driving by and one person points a gun out of a window and fires. People begin to scatter, to take cover, and the SUV speeds off. When that SUV crashed, 2 people inside were killed. The 17-year-old driver survived, and he is now being charged. Chief Lumpkin making it extremely clear that this was a gang-related shooting.
These individuals belong to a gang named Only the Mob. They have been targeted and have received sanctions in the past. This is a gang that's was juvenile based, which makes it much more difficult to bring permanent sanctions under Georgia law against them. It's predominantly associated with the east area of our city.
And David, Chief Lumpkin says the 2 passengers in that car were also known for their criminal behavior. Now, they believe that second shooting, they don't know if that's related yet to this first shooting or not, but they are still looking into that to see if chambers may have been connected to that one as well.
Indicating that no one involved in this is new to the police, to law enforcement, to the courts here in Chatham County. All right, Gigi, thank you so much for that. These shootings, the police pursuit, the crash, certainly not happening in a vacant area of downtown, but in a very public and very busy place. You can only imagine how local business owners are feeling in this area and throughout the historic district as a result of what's happened. Danielle Lewan has been talking to some of them, and they're the ones who really have a lot to lose.
David, one of the servers told me she didn't know if it was fireworks or gunshots at first, but when she saw people flooding off of this porch and into the door taking cover, that's when she knew the situation she was in. One of the servers immediately ran to the kitchen and took cover, as she said she thought it could be a mass shooting and didn't want to be in the way of any stray bullets coming through the glass. People were crying, calling their families and waiting, worried for their safety, but also friends they knew were in the area celebrating the holiday. When the shots fired, here's what happened in Wild Wings next.
when I turned around to deliver the drinks, I saw everyone running in through our front doors.
Since we have a market area and a patio area, everyone was trying to run inside, and people were flipping tables and stuff to try to push out of the crowd to go in there.
Wild Wing says that they kept everybody inside and safe until police said that it was okay for them to come out. They then escorted them out this front door, kept all of these back streets closed off until everyone in the area was safe. Live in City Market, I'm Danielle Lewan at WTOC News.
You know, there's someone else whose job gets a lot tougher when this kind of random violence dominates the headlines here in Savannah, and that's Michael Owens. He's joining me now, president of the Savannah Tourism Leadership Council. You know, when I first met you a little more than 2 years ago, we had this same discussion about the kind of impact that a single incident like this could potentially have on tourism in Savannah. What is it that's going to keep you up at nights as we move forward past this?
Well, it's incidents like this. We focus very rightfully so on the immediate impact of the crime, right? There's a mother, there's a father somewhere that's lost somebody, but there is a longer term ramification that can create more problem, and that's the crime incident itself. If tourism wanes, that means jobs are lost. And when jobs are lost and unemployment goes up, well, certainly we're going to see crime increase. It's the ramification of tomorrow that we've got to keep in mind here. These jobs and livelihoods of tens of thousands of Savannians depends on this, and people are choosy when they choose their destination. We've got to make sure that this place is safe. Not just saying it's safe, it is safe. So our visitors, our residents, our business owners can enjoy the beautiful downtown area and all of what Savannah has to offer.
And Michael, of course, it's impossible to stop all random crime. I don't care how many cops you put on the street.
Certainly.
The issue is, what is council, community, what are we not doing, in your opinion, that still needs to be done?
Action. Action. That's what needs to be done. There's a lot of fervor about this, and of course there is. There's fervor when anyone in our family, and I mean our Savannah family, is harmed. That's true. We can get upset. We go to Facebook. We start pointing the blame. I understand that. But we've also got to turn that into action. And that action is ultimately done by the council. They've done a lot of very positive things. There are more police officers in the force than before. There's equipment and training that's happening that wasn't happening before.
Right.
But it does. The instance last night tell her we got a lot longer to go. We've got a lot more things to deal with. We're going to have to deal with this gang situation. We're going to have to get on point. We're going to have to turn this anger, this sorrow, these tragedies into a positive motion that may save somebody else's life.
Sure. Perhaps putting more pressure on those who control the purse strings, those who we're voting for at the ballot box.
Ultimately, the decision is by City Council and the Chatham County Commission. Both of those organizations need to work together. We need more results. We appreciate what we've seen.
Sure.
But we need more. We've got to save more lives.
Michael Owens, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us once again tonight.
Thanks, David.
Another thing that I know is keeping this man up at night is the loss of a close friend, Scott Waldrup. He was struck and killed in that police pursuit when that vehicle crashed just, again, 100 yards from where we're standing now. Sean Evans is joining us now live at the Gray. That's where this gentleman, Scott Waldrup, was the general manager and, what I'm told, one of the best bartenders in the South. Sean, this has got to be hitting them hard.
Absolutely, David. Folks coming in, remembering him today at the Gray all afternoon, actually. Comments and condolences coming in on social media as well by the hundreds. All reactions to posts by the Gray and Savannah Pride, two organizations that Scott Waldrup was heavily involved in, a big part of his life. Now, Scott Waldrup was more than just a general manager of the Gray here on MLK and the restaurant's Facebook post. They say he was part of the very soul of who they are and what they do. And after hearing about Waldrup's death, the president of the local Savannah Firefighter Union even offered up a statement saying in part that Scott died doing what my and our proud members attempt to do every day, which is protect the citizens and visitors of this city. Many witness accounts report that Scott died a hero as he herded, even pushed many of the victims to safety at the expense of his own life. Now, we have that entire statement attached to this story on WTOC.com, as well as our continuing coverage. Reporting live downtown, Sean Evans, WTOC News.
As expected, a lot of people turning to Facebook and other branches of social media to show their support for the Gray, Scott Waldrup, of course, and the loved ones and coworkers he leaves behind. Let me read a couple to you. Rob Gibson saying, quote, "We all loved how Scott lit up the Gray with his smile and personality and embodied, quote, service with a smile. He will be missed by many. Paul Barker saying again on Facebook that Scott was a true gentleman who cared deeply for every guest at the Gray. He was one of those treasures that makes Savannah so great. A lot of others commenting on social media as well. This man was known and loved by many here. You know, random violence like this, as I mentioned before, is impossible to prevent. However, it's becoming more and more clear that our neglect of the origins of this kind of crime here in Savannah are catching up to us. You know, it all becomes useless, all the extra cops, all the extra equipment, all the extra police training, unless you're doing your part. You got to keep in mind there are about 640 cops in this town. There's 145,000 of us. Ask yourself before you complain too much about the violence in Savannah, what have you been doing to address this issue? Jody, I'll send it back to you.
All right, we have more to tell you as our coverage continues. Next, Elizabeth Rawlins joins us with more information on the person now in custody. He's known to police, and Elizabeth will bring us more about his criminal history. And we are heading back outside, taking a live look now with our WTOC Ellis Square Skycam. This is where we have been throughout the newscast. We'll have your forecast and more coming up.
I'm Cannady in Baxley. It's the case that caught America's attention. I have a live report coming up.
Well, tonight we continue to follow additional breaking news. This out of Appling County. The two people wanted for assaulting a mother and daughter in Baxley have been arrested. Did you see this video? It was viewed all over Facebook. The brutal assault going viral as a nationwide search unfolded for Eric and Latasha Smith. Today, they turned themselves in. Continuing to follow this story for us, Dal Cannady joining us live from just outside of the Appling County Jail.
Jody, tomorrow afternoon would mark 2 weeks since that attack that has now been seen all over the world. This morning, the two people believed to be in that video turned themselves in. This all happened over supposedly a disgruntled food order. Tonight, that couple is having dinner in the Appling County Jail. Take a look at some video, if we can, of that attack. Security cameras captured the assault as the couple complained about their food at this roadside stand. The owner had already refunded their money when the woman attacked her. Then the man struck the owner's 15-year-old daughter. The two drove away and had not been seen until the suspects surrendered this morning. Baxley's police chief calls their surrender a relief.
This thing had already got to the point that I was really afraid that innocent people were going to get hurt somehow, some way, because people were already starting to call in. We were flooded with phone calls that they were sighted here, they were sighted there.
Thankfully, no innocent people were mistaken for the Smiths by someone who wanted to take justice into their hands. Thankfully, that did not happen anywhere. The Smiths are in the Appling County Jail here. They will wait to see a magistrate judge sometime soon. We're trying to find out when that will be. We'll let you know when that happens. Live in Baxley, Dal Cannady, WTOC News.
I never thought anything would happen like that on this 4th of July evening. You know, I just never thought it would happen.
And you can imagine how scary it was for hundreds of people in downtown Savannah overnight as shots ring out in City Market. That led to a police pursuit and deadly crash, killing one pedestrian and injuring 5 more. David Klugh joining us once again now from City Market as we continue our team coverage. David?
Jody, I think we were all very impressed this afternoon at that news conference with the police chief and members of city council, including the mayor, at just how much detail they were able to release about the crimes that took place here last night just after midnight. Very specific, including that piece of video that we showed you at the top of this show. I want to show it to you again, kind of talk you through it. Metro Police showing us the video of that first shooting. We saw at the top of the show the angle from across the street. You can see the same car at the top left left, slowly driving in front of a group of people when one person from the side fires a shot, at least one. The SUV then speeds off, that leading to a deadly crash outside Five Guys. Now, one person was killed there and 5 people were injured, all pedestrians there, 2 in the car. You can see the Metro police officers rounding the corner very quickly, responding just in seconds. Police Chief Jack Lumpkin saying that the violence has to stop, and all of the city and county leaders as well as residents need to be making this happen.
We have to hit them all over town. We also have to stop them where they are. If we don't stop them in their block, they will be in your block. So we have to have the resources to actually stop them.
During Mayor Eddie DeLoach's comments at that news conference, as soon as the chief was done talking, he made an interesting comment that goes back to what are we going to put into the police force to bring this violent crime down. He made the comment that the city of Savannah is doing everything it can to add police, to basically follow the guidelines of that Berkshire study we've talked so much about, and that he hopes the county will do the same. Take that for what it's worth. Jody, back to you.
All right now, we have more to share with you about what we're learning about the teen suspect involved in this shooting and crash. Take a look. He's on your screen. Jerry Chambers, facing 3 counts of felony murder charges. He remains behind bars at the Chatham County Jail. And Elizabeth Rawlins joins me now here in the studio. Elizabeth, you found out this teen already has a criminal past.
He sure does, Jody. In fact, investigators say this is the same guy who was involved in the armed robbery and shooting at Savannah Mall last summer. You may remember this back in June of 2016. Investigators say a 63-year-old woman was in the mall parking lot when she was attacked and robbed. When she tried to fight back, she was shot and seriously injured. The suspect, Jerry Chambers, turned himself in 2 days later and was charged with armed robbery and aggravated assault. We asked investigators today why Chambers was back out on the street just 1 year later, armed and dangerous.
We went to juvenile court with the case. It was a good, solid case. The powers that be there did not feel that he was guilty, so he was released.
Chambers is a member of the juvenile gang, Only the Mob. The chief says under Georgia law, it's a lot harder to sanction juvenile offenders. Of course, now this just raises new questions, Jody, about the system.
Exactly. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. And as we take a look outside for you now from the WTOC Downtown Skycam, coming up next, city leaders react to the violence.
My prayers are with all the victims. This violence in our city must stop, and it must stop now.
You'll hear more from Mayor Eddie DeLoach. Quoting the mayor, the violence must stop. Savannah Mayor Eddie DeLoach sending a strong message to people committing violent crimes in the city. He, along with Metro Police Chief Jack Lumpkin and other city leaders, holding a news conference just a few hours ago. And here is more from the mayor.
This is not a time for pointing fingers and saying, I told you so. This is a time to do just like this council has done and stand up and say, we need to do better. Therefore, we have done better. And I would ask all the leaders of our different associations, not only in the community, but in the neighborhoods, but in our business associations, in our neighborhood associations, to stand up.
Stay right here with WTOC, both on air and online, all evening for continuing coverage on this developing story.
The big story today for the weather department was the heat. It is hot out there, and the culprit, hello, no break from the sun. Just a few scattered clouds out there. Showers further to the south, and that would be 82 in a rain-cooled Alma, 88 in a rain-cooled Jessup, but still 95 at the airport, 88 Hilton Head as the sea breeze has passed. Now, First Alert Planner shows that we're still in the 90s by 7, 87, 82, so we're still right around 80 degrees at midnight. Our rain chances drop off to nil, zip, 0. tomorrow, 78 in the overnight hours, and we're waking up in the 70s as well. So most of the activity south of the Altamaha, Jessup right here with a little bit of lightning, and this is colliding with the sea breeze. That's why we're seeing that. They're non-severe, but anywhere north of that, very light shower activity, and the one in Richmond Hill along 144 rained itself out in the last 20 minutes. So you can see that lightning from Jessup all the way down just west of Nahunta. Alma, it's not going anywhere, so I can't really track it for you. And the little downpours that we have seen, we picked up 7/10 of an inch of rain in Jessup. Even if you were on Walnut Street, almost an inch of rain there. So it poured in specific locations. Waking up to 77 in Jessup, 76 Alma, 76 in Savannah, a warm, sticky 78, Statesboro, Reedsville, Estill, Hampton, and in the 80s in Beaufort and Hilton Head tomorrow. So here are forecast highs. We roll into the 90s once again. Brunswick, a cool spot, 93. If you're lucky enough to head to the beach, that's hot too. 92 Hilton Head, 91 Tybee, with a 0 chance of rain at the beaches. So it's a good day to go to the beach, but it'll be hot there as well. 97 for the high tomorrow, 96 for Friday. Just a snapshot of what it may feel like 24 hours from now. 108 in Savannah. So please remember to be heat smart.
Stay with WTOC as we continue to follow last night's shooting and deadly crash. More coverage for you ahead on the news at 7 and later on the news at 11. And in the meantime, go to WTOC.com for updates. And thank you for joining us tonight.